So we don't need to share the screen.
Okay.
Well, we do because
Yeah, I know.
It's 8 o'clock. We're gonna call the
5:30.
May 14th transit meeting to order.
Special meeting.
I move.
Roll call. We have everyone here except John Mintz is excused. And Spencer is not here. Approval of minutes for the April 9th, I mean.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion been made second. Any changes? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment? No. Be set.
this looks a little, something's not working here. Yeah, this one looks like it's side screen. We find some of you, most of you have 4+ meetings today, as Dustin called me up and told me. So I'm gonna just hit on the important stuff today. And if we have time at the end, we can talk about the ridership numbers. 2025 financials, looking right at even now, and we're going into our slow time. Where we're not burning through so much payroll and fuel going into summer. So it's good to see here through April. 2025 rural service, we've blasted this out everywhere, local municipality papers and Facebook pages, etc. Again, this just goes to quadrants. We're going with this number, schematic, facing it like a clock, and going into quadrant 1, first Tuesday of the month, second Tuesday, third and fourth. ADRC has $6,000 or so to cover towards rides. That's 400 one-way rides or 200 round trips total. Initially, we said this would be paid for through the month of June, but with that, maybe 4 riders a day through those weeks, it's going to take, we can cover these rides more than just June. So we'll relay that information to individuals. I've gotten a few calls on it. I don't think most of these calls are going to come until the week of the time that they need a ride. This will be on an agenda item for today of getting voted on. We've never had to cross this bridge yet, because we haven't had 3 different areas for different cost needs. Before now, we've done in-town rides for $4. That's everything in the city limits. And then everything outside the city limits has been out-of-town doorstop, what it's been called. And that's a $7 out of town. That covered anything. There wasn't that circle there. So now that we have a rural doorstop, where do we draw the line on what we can do daily out of town versus once a month? So we've went out as far as the schedule has allowed previously. We've picked up riders well before my time here, and we pick them up every day to take them into town about 8 to 9 miles out of town, which takes us pretty much out to Jake's Supper Club or out to almost Downsville. Menomony's shaped in kind of a weird way. We kind of think of the city center as right around Mabel Tainer. There's a few ways we could do this. I thought the best way would be a bird's eye radius from the city center, or a Google Maps. If it's less than 10 miles from City Hall of Menominee, we'll say yes to going to that. But there needs to be some defined distances here, so we don't have individuals upset that they can ride once a month versus somebody else riding anytime they want, as long as our schedule allows. So is it the best idea to go, 7 miles from the closest city limits to that edge? Or, if we use downtown here, that gets us a lot less distance to the north if we did a 10-mile radius that way. So the goal is to have a proposal and decision on where we make this radius for being able to do daily out of town rides versus the once a month quadrants. 10 miles out of town is still hard to do, but we've grandfathered riders in that have ridden for 10 plus years twice a day that are about 8-9 miles out coming into the day programs in town. So I thought that was a good radius of 10 miles from, City Hall.
You feel like you have the equipment and the staff to be able to handle those trips and without disrupting the normal issue.
For the few times we get it, the calls to go, out to Cedar Falls or,
Yeah, I mean, using the 10-mile radius from
Yeah.
City Hall, you feel like that's more doable
Yeah.
than going from the city limits? Cause I know the city, how the city stretches,
right?
10 miles from the city limits turns into more like a 15-mile radius potentially with the city limit.
Right.
But
So, yeah, we picked up in Wheeler and if we take those north city limits, it almost gets you there.
yeah,
And that's a lot further to get to than going to Downsville,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
So I think that this takes care of who's ridden for a decade and still maintains opportunities for other riders in that. Everybody that we've already driven and allows others that are out in these areas too.
So you're not excluding any existing clients?
Nope.
Don't tell me what
If we did 5 miles out of town,
you would.
yes. So 10 mile, Google map,
Or even 70 probably would.
7.5 is where we had it here.
Okay.
Yeah, those that live out off Double E by the she shed there, that's about 8. So, yeah, this 10 I think is good. And there's gonna be situations where it may take somebody from in town or two that they aren't we're not available, but I think we're here to help as many people as we can. So, yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it.
Motion on that then?
yeah, we need a motion.
It's coming up. isn't it?
Yes, okay, so we'll touch back on that. Got 7 minutes left of my allocation from Dustin. Okay, so I talked about that, this is a discussion and a approval action item in this as well. I ran this updated potential route. It is awesome, huge step forward. We go with it. This takes you from Dick's Fresh Market instead of taking a left to City Hall. We're gonna just pass by there, take Main, head to Stepping Stones, go to the CVTC main entrance next to the job center, like Gretchen suggested. Pull into the parking lot. That gives us a bus shelter back. Come out here. If this ever turns into a 4-way intersection, we can maintain, or we can just continue down the service road. We could go down this service road as well to hit these small businesses. We wouldn't lose any time that way either. There's that new walk path. I had a talk with Dustin about it shouldn't be a problem if Dave Schofield says yes to it too, to just move that bus shelter up there when we're moving the scout shelters here in 3 weeks. Because there's a crosswalk, there's a light, there's a street light there. We come into Oak Leaf Mail, come back down, a left turn, to City Hall. We're actually facing the correct direction for this now, to go right to Stout. And this gives us the opportunity to get to the library at 30 minutes after the hour and 60 minutes after the hour, like we were already doing. There's enough time built into this new schedule with the time savings here that we could still go to the clock tower if we want to go up to 6 and up without all that double loop that we used to do at 33 after. I don't think we need to do it, but we could still hit that exact time that students are used to at 33 after. We switch that to 32 after. Now we hit the UW library at 30, 32 at clock tower and head north. So the only thing this does is move the City Hall bus stop from 19 after to 28 after. And the rest of these moved up a few minutes. That takes care of those changes, and it adds the UW library at 30 minutes after the hour. Public library bus stop is currently on Broadway. It's a 35-mile-an-hour road. It's not fun for drivers behind us or drivers. You know, it gives me anxiety every time we have people that are at that bus stop. So an idea was to take Wolski Bay Road that turns into Wilson. There's only one stop sign, I think, at Wilson and Elm versus a stop sign at Pine, a stop sign at Oak, and a stop sign at Wilson. There's one stop sign right there on the whole street, maybe one more at Pine. That should be a 4-way. So 3 turns into 2. Changer Street is in very, very poor condition in a bus. So this would allow us to pick up right at the library. They could still sit on that park bench if they want. We pick up at the crosswalk at the UW or the public library, and it's actually a beautiful route to take that. And then the couple times a year that we have bad snow and that road is icy, you know, it's a pretty one-off situation on those days.
Are they only going up that hill by Wolski Way and not down it?
Correct.
Excellent.
Which we don't have a stop sign at the top. They have a stop sign up to the left and the right. But
what is the rules, regulations like? So right by there's businesses on the right just past the library, and there's some on the left. Is there a place where you would be allowed to just turn around and go back out on those bad days at least?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
there's Wolski Bay
When
Park,
that hill
or
gets
whatever that park
icy
name is.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, there's a boat landing down there, and then there's just before it, there was the,
Lakeside.
yeah, Lakeside Park and,
2 big parking lots we could turn around in.
okay.
Yep. So yeah, we could definitely detour, or we just bypass it completely and take Changer. But on those real crappy days, yeah, it's rough. Wilson is and Wolski Bay Road are actually in very good shape. They just
Turn around to the library if you were to step at the door for the library.
It's-
Especially inclement weather.
it's a very tight parking lot, and you cannot get under that awning with the bus.
Yeah.
But and then that other business
Yeah, there's-
complex
yeah.
has concrete, like
Too tight there.
it's very tight to even make a 90-degree turn in there without
Yeah, you got
readjusting.
that little park right down there.
Yeah,
on the right
so-
side.
It's literally
The boat
5
landing.
yards down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have options. I would only recommend us taking that and then turning around during inclement weather, just because of the time it takes.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the year, taking that. Currently have a bus stop sign right here. That would move over to here. And then here, we don't have a sign there yet. But we have riders that get off. That would have to move there. We do drop a lot of people there, so they might, buck a little bit on that, but Marketplace is right here. That's 2 blocks away from, and with crosswalks and everything from most of that as well. We do have riders that walk all the way from some of these areas to get on at Elm and Open Tainter, so it would be better for a lot of them as well.
Yeah, sure, narrow.
We have riders that ride to go work at Taco John's. Marketplace is just as close as, as that. So it's just learning the closest way after we adjust it. I think this is the way to go. It is not fun on Broadway there. Eventually the bus is gonna get rear-ended.
Are we having, at the Stout Library, it's because of that heritage construction, do we have to change anything? The next 3
Not-
years, that
We're
building?
moving the.
We're just moving the shelter to the west.
Okay, okay,
And I think it'll actually be better because we have bus fulls of students. And we drop them
all
currently
cross
before
over,
the crosswalk.
yeah,
So then after they're all dropped and the bus needs to get going, it just drops 50 kids off that are walking in front. So
yep.
This'll-
I've watched that happen.
this will be good. And that's wider. The road's way wider there. So, yeah. That's that. And then just talked about if we wanted to add the clock tower act to the library at 32 after, so this is the updated times. Okay, we don't have time to run through these, but ridership was good, especially on the Stout route. Community route was, very good as well. Best, year of April ever by, 600 riders or so. Community Saturday only lost to 2023, and that's because 2023 had 5 Saturdays in it. I looked it up. So, yeah, very good. Okay,
Stout run on this week, next.
Friday at 4:30,
Okay.
4:41. Yeah. 4:30 pickup, 4:41 drop. Yeah, first full year of having the transit buses pretty much take care of that route, other than, a week here or there. So I think it's been great.
That if staff report. All right, thanks. Good. Number 7, consideration actions taken by the committee, discussion and approval of the doorstop, fare radius and proposal. Which we just kind of looked at. What's anybody thinking of?
Make a motion that we approve, the, route and times as proposed by,
And reach.
and rates, yep, sorry.
Is that in there too, right?
It is,
Yep.
yep.
Okay.
For the, proposed out-of-town doorstop, fare radius and, community route changes as proposed by Austin.
Dustin, second. Okay. Any discussion, any further discussion?
Can I ask a question? So will we be putting out a very specific road by road map of what that 10-mile radius is so that folks can identify it and we have something to point to if they're like just outside?
Yes, I'll do the radius and then that was my plan, to do the radius and then they would call in and we'd say, we could just plug it in. So within 10 miles from City Hall, yes or no. We can see how it sits with a few.
Yeah, like their driveways in, but their
Yeah.
houses.
No, well, yeah.
There's gonna be some flexibility.
There-
Yeah, as long as we
Flexibility,
have flexibility, I'm fine with it. I
Yeah.
just don't,
flexibility, but within a black and white scope that just covers us.
I don't think Austin's gonna make you walk down the road 50 feet from the end of your driveway.
no,
See, we'll
that's
see.
what I'm saying, because you're talking to someone who on the school bus route was, across the street.
I hear ya. Yeah, when my kid eventually rides the bus, she's gonna have to walk
Uh-huh,
a ways.
yeah. Just checking.
Up to the main road. All right,
Any other discussion, any other questions? If not, All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We will start that process.
First.
We're seeing the postings.
Oh, yeah.
Been asking me.
Otherwise, number 7, nothing. Next meeting will be June 11th, same place, same time. And meeting's adjourned.